Hello viewers, welcome to C tutorial of season 3, and here today we are going to discuss keywords in C. So let's start with. Okay, so before jump start with this is a simple term. What are the keywords we have in every programming language? As we came into information technology, we have been studying in C, like we used to have 32 keywords, right? So C also has a number of keywords, and today we are going to discuss. Basically, keywords are nothing but those reserved words, or it is already reserved by Microsoft in as a part of C#.NET language, and which can't be used as a identifiers, in your program, like for variable, class, interface, properties, etc. Okay, this can't be used. So I will prove this right now. So keywords has been categorized based on type of use. Okay, so before moving into the different categories we have, basically this is completely theoretical, tutorial basically. Why? Because I will move into the one by one, and we will just discuss one by one. So in that point, uh, we'll see, like there are a lot of tutorials, just upcoming. We are coming with, in our upcoming sessions, and we are going to discuss one by one among each of the category. Okay, so not to worry about, just go through this tutorial just to know like what are the types of keyword we have to just build a good foundation basically. Okay. So okay, so as we were discussing, like the keywords or the preserved words can't be used as like identifiers or something. Let's suppose there is a keyword called int. Okay, there is a keyword. So can I just go and simply declare a variable called int? Just go for a try. Okay, simply just go for a try. What we called string. Okay, string is a data type, and I want to declare a variable called int. Okay, and initially simple, just assign an empty string. Is it allowed? No, not at all. See what the error it shows represents as a 32-bit signed integer. Basically it is of type struct, and which comes as a structure we are going to discuss. It is of type value type basically, and we are going to our next video sessions or upcoming video sessions about the data types in C#. I will just clearly mention what is struct, value type, reference type, and all. Okay, so it won't allow. This is a small example. Let me show you one more also, called as class. Is it allowing? Because class is a keyword, it is already preserved word. Okay, so it is all, as it is already reserved by the Microsoft for C#, we can't make use of as an identifier basically. Okay, and just you would have noticed, like whatever the preserved keywords comes, turns into blue basically. So this is a important point. Like string, all these are the keywords or the types is also keyword. So here you can see it's turned into blue actually, right? Okay, so let's move into the next topic. So okay, so here we will discuss some of categories we have, and uh, the first one is of type modifiers basically. So what are the modifiers? As the common English term, it suggests that it has a mean to modify something. Like, so below are some of modifiers which has a meaning to get modified where these are applied. In the sense, you can see like async, const, event, extend, new, override, const, right? Okay, unfortunately I've repeated const. Okay, not an issue. We'll exclude this one while editing to my blog basically. So partial, read only, sealed, static, unsafe, virtual, and volatile. So some of highlighted things I just have noted down basically, and you can just consider I have almost noted down the modifiers. Basically here you can see like abstract partial is a one kind of modifier which allows a class to be declared in multiple files. In Visual Studio what happens, let me show you. See, here you can see like we have a class and it presents inside a program.cs. Even let's suppose here I will be declaring like three lines, and I just want to declare on the rest of the three line not within the same file. I just want to create one more called program2.cs, and simply I am going to extend the implementation of the same class using multiple physical files. It is possible. While declaring I have to mention as it's a partial class. Okay, so we are going to discuss in each and every topic what we are going to discuss, highlight, or we are going to just touch in this video tutorial. Okay, basically, so that's why I just want to just go theoretically thoroughly. We will be looking into the in our next video sessions. So there are something like new is nothing but it is a keyword. I will show you when we are going to discuss class and its object creation, constructor and all. So when you are going to instantiate an object, you would have studied in object oriented language C++, like we are instantiating an object to access the member of this particular type called class, right? So new uh, what it does, so new helps here. So what this keyword does basically, right? It does, it modifies or it adds some of execution steps to the current flow where it is applicable. That's the this title is all about. Okay, so next move into the next one. Okay, so this is my second category of type access modifiers. Okay, so you would have guessed like the name itself, it suggests like access modifiers are those modifiers you guys basically you would have heard or would have been covered in your C++, if you have come across. So the same thing it is applicable, like access specifier are those keywords being used with classes, methods, properties, interface, even fields, to control the accessibility for the particular block or constraint and enable security as well. How? Like we are having like public, private, internal protection. So not to worry about when we are moving into just upcoming video tutorials. We will be covering our one of the video tutorial called the completely access specifier tutorial. So where I will be showing you like how it works with the proper example. So like public, private, as the name itself suggests, up to what extent and how many resources should available the accessibility basically. So why it is there in every programming language, basically object oriented programming languages, because the main intention to provide one level of security to your program, right? So these are also called as your keywords and it comes under the access modifiers. So that's it. Okay, let me show you some of keywords by default we will be using or we can use also, and we already have used in our programs, right? Let me show you. So here you can see like we won't be using, but internally a class, when we will cover a class we will let you know. Or in access specifier section, by default a class has an access specifier called internal. By default a class access specifier it is using called internal, but let's go for public. That means this class is publicly available and it can be consumed outside of the project even. So because it is public and this is the least priority of the all the access specifier we have. If want to allow for all, as you know, and name suggests go for public. Okay, so this is also a keyword. We can't even declare a public as variable. See, let me show you. Int public will it allow? Not at all. It should not. See, we are getting the red mark. So now we are good to go with. So let's move into the next topic. Okay, so now type template. Okay, so these are the keyword usually part of a program in a sequential process, so not to worry about the how the complicated it is. What is template? Nothing to worry about. Template is nothing but the block we are considering while writing a program, and these are the common keywords we have been using from our birth in IT sector. Okay, so okay, so like if, else, do, while, these are the branching, looping. We are going to discuss each and every word and how to use and by default, intentionally or unintentionally, we would be using in going forward. So not to worry about. So these are the keywords comes under the templates. And why it's called keyword? Because again it is a reserved words, and it has a purpose or it has a meaning to a program, and which is designed by Microsoft, right? So now the next category we are discussing is method params, basically method parameters, right? So these keywords generally used in method with its parameter, of course, like params, ref, out, ref stands for as a reference, and output. Basically, yes, like out and ref, we are going to discuss in our upcoming tutorial with the example also, which will be taking as a variable as a reference, and it will come up with the value from an execution step. Okay, let me just ask you one simple question. What is the common way to just get a value from a method? You would be guessing, like, let's go for the return type. Okay, let's, there is a method called get my value, and it must be returning a particular type, and let's suppose integer. What would be the way? Simple, just go and declare with the int, right? There is one more also called reference type variable, or the reference or out variable, what we called, right? So call by value, call by reference, all these things we will be discussing, right? So this does the same thing. Okay, so this ref out also comes under a type keyword, and as it is being used within the bound line of a method declaration in parameter section, so we are categorizing accordingly, right? And the important one we will see, like params with a separate video tutorial I want to go with. Params is nothing but it is the keyword which used as a type while declaring a method, and it will be taking a number of argument as a parameter. Let's suppose how it would be declaring, like there's a method called add numbers, and within the parameter we are not going to just pass int x int y. We would be passing as multiple parameter as params int array of some parameter name. Okay, so not to worry about, we will give a clear picture, okay, while declaring these keywords with the video session. Okay, so next, move on to the next category. Okay, namespaces. Okay, the namespace, it suggests, in our first video tutorial we would be discussing like namespaces is nothing but it is a collection of interface properties, classes, and all our identifiers and types, basically, right? It is the entire assembly we have, and we can take a namespace as a reference, and we can access all the members declared inside the namespace, right? Like using system is nothing but it's a namespace which has some methods, and a method is defined within the class, right? So these are the, again, these are the keywords usually applies to namespace. How? As it told, like why using, can you just remember or recall like where using is being used? Let me show you. So here you can see like using system, as I told, system is a namespace. I can using a keyword, and using the keyword using, okay, we would be calling system. So just make it to very similar or simpler, like importing a namespace called a keyword called using. Simply it is appending whatever the things or implemented within this program, so that we can access all the things like classes, and classes has these methods, okay, by using statement. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so dot operator, externalize, and here you can see like it's double colon operator, right? Dot operator also used in a namespace sometimes, like a namespace can contain while creating like system dot text. Okay, let me show you system dot text how it works also, even extend all these things we will be discussing, no need to worry about. Okay, like here you can see using system, okay, dot, let's suppose collection. I want to use this particular namespace rather than going for the entire one. Okay, dot is also a keyword. Okay, it is not a simple a symbol, you don't go for a symbol, it also considered as a keyword of type namespace. See, it contains the namespace system dot collections, right? And okay, this double colon is nothing but it is called as alias name or alias name to a namespace operator basically. Let me show how it works basically. Okay, because it is something the very rarely used, and in a special conditions it is being used inside a program. Okay, let's move into the practical one. So here like how we are just importing the namespaces using keyword, right? By help of using keyword. So but here we are going to just take help of alias name using double colon. Okay, so before that let me just get alias name like my alias, okay, equals, which would be like system dot, let's suppose text, fine. And here inside a program I will make use of my alias actually. Okay, and just see here you are getting the operators also, and let's assign something called my txt. Okay, and just put a dot and okay, sorry, should not be dot. Yeah, like here we can access like let's suppose string builder also. Okay, and I am just going to create an object equals, okay, here we are here we are good to go with, right? See how we are just creating the string builder with the help of my alias. So sometimes this okay, this is simply example, I'm just taking help of pre-built metadata classes we have, but most of the cases in our real-time applications basically whatever the namespaces we have been using as a third party, maybe for logging purposes, or maybe there are some projects of class library. And as you know, like class library project will contain a class, and that class name, rather than let's suppose there's a class called my data access layer, rather than using using my data access layer, we make use of like using dal equals the completely qualified namespace, here we can assign like this. Okay, and we can make use of the future. Okay, so no need to confuse about this. Okay, once we will move into the next sessions we would be touching this part, so not to worry about. Okay, this is simply a keyword how it is being used, as it is a very rare concept we have been using in our day-to-day program also, because nobody wants to do if there are no such requirement, right? So that's the thing, nothing else. Okay, let's move into the next topic. Okay, so extend also a keyword. So these things are we would be, I am not going to discuss one by one as of now, because as we are going to touch all the keywords with details and examples in our upcoming video series, so no need to worry of. So let's move into the next one. It's called of type access keywords. Access don't be confused between the access and access modifiers or keywords. Basically, this is access. Okay, this type of keywords used to access objects or components in class or from base classes. Basically, there are two types. It's called this and base. Okay, so what is the purpose of having this? You would have come across this keyword particularly, because let's suppose I have a class X, okay, and basically the class is X is going to be inherit to class Y, and Y is the parent class. When we move into inheritance, definitely we are going to make use of both the classes, so no need to worry of. So how I would be consuming the base X class of base okay, there is a common object called my object in both base as well as my child class, and within the child class, and X is the child class, I want to access the member called my object, okay, uh, from the base class, as well as there is an object called my object in our child class as well with the same name. Okay, so how we are going to discuss access this both the uh, my object reference, basically, right? Let's suppose you want to access this dot my object, means it would be referencing to your current object. That means you are inside a child class, so it will be access to the local member called my object, okay, within the child class itself. Okay, and when using base keyword, we can make use of the or we can access the members of your parent class. So as it is providing the access of local between the parent or the global level, that's why we have this keyword and categorize it within the access level, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, of type operator, it's a simpler one. Like like we are having lot of operators: age, await, new, each, checked. Okay, there are some keywords. I'm not talking about like plus minus symbol. These are also called operators, but the operators in form of words is called as operator keywords, right? Size of, type of, unchecked, is. Okay, so is a conditional kind of operator. Is true, is false, right? Age is the word which is used to declare of a particular type. Let's suppose my data is int, that means my data of type int. Okay, await is a keyword when we are going to just discuss multi-threading. That time would be consider this keyword particularly. And new, as I told, it instantiates objects or the calls the constructor, basically. And there's a common use. I'm just simply highlighting size of is the keyword which you want to get a particular size of a particular member or variable. Let's suppose there is a variable called string my data, and it contains Sunil Kumar Malana, or maybe SKM data, or maybe your name. If you want to map the size, then you can go for this operator. And type of to get what type of the particular input or the particular member you are going to associate with. Let's suppose there is a variable called x of type int, and you will go to type of x. Just check the magic, what it happens, right? So let's move on. So these are the operators of type keyword. So we have categorized it within the operator keyword. And what is literal, basically? As the definition says, this type of keywords deals with the current instance or value of an object, means which is the most moreover it is a local reference kind of thing. Okay, like null, false, true, value, void. It always deals with the current member, like null, which can be assigned to a particular variable value. Void is of type written, right, which only deals with the current instance, the current block you are working with. That's why we have categorized like this, right? So let's move into the next video session of type contextual. Okay, what is contextual? Basically, this type of keywords to be considered as keyword in a certain condition. Why I have written like this? because as we have been reiterating one thing, like the word which is already preserved or already reserved by the Microsoft for C sharp, which can't be used as an identifier within the program, because it turns into the blue symbol and with the red mark underlined as an error, right? Yeah, we would have checked in our Visual Studio in this video tutorial itself, right? But there are some words which can be still used as an identifier irrespective of it is a keyword, because that only turns as a keyword in certain conditions. And what are the conditions we would be just come across in our day-to-day life when we are going to deal with the programming. And definitely, of course, no need to repeat in our upcoming video sessions. Okay, let me show you something interesting. Okay, so before moving that, so these are the some words like add, where, dynamic. Okay, where is of type implicitly of type variable. So when we are going to discuss variable section, I will show you. And dynamic is nothing but it is of a type introduced after, I think, if I'm not wrong, it's a .NET version 3.5 onwards. I think it's 3.0 or 3.5 it got introduced. Implicitly variable var introduced in 3.0 3.5, and dynamic later on basically. Okay, and what is the difference between these two also we are going to discuss. Even this is the common interview question, guys. Please just set a focus on this, like what is the difference between var and dynamic as well. Okay, anyway, when we will be discussing, I will show you. And global set, all these things. Okay, but still these keywords can be used as an identifier. Let's see in action. So as we would be seeing, like there are some keywords which turns into keyword depend on the condition. Okay, let's go with the one like var. Okay, my data, this is the name of our identifier, and I'm assigning skm.net, right? See, it doesn't show, or it won't be raising any kind of error. Even if you build also, it will be successfully built also. See, I'm just building the solution also, there won't be a problem. And see, because var is a type, okay, of type implicit we are going to discuss. Now let me show something magic. Okay, let's turn into string and declare as var. Okay, see, var was a type before, now it turns into an identifier, and simply build it by pressing Ctrl Shift V. See, it is showing still build succeeded. Okay, it won't be having any kind of error. Okay, the same does the dynamic as well. See, okay. Dynamic also won't be having error. Now you can make use of dynamic as a type, and let's consider in my data. So we won't be having any kind of error. Simply build it. See, it is getting succeeded. Okay, so that's what I just wanted to show you. So I was showing like the where can be used as an identifier. That time it behaves as an identifier, not as a keyword. But when I am just declaring it as a type for a particular object or variable, it turns into a keyword. So that's why it's called contextual, right? So okay, so next one is the query. So as the name suggests itself, it query is generally we ask something or we are querying something, like maybe to deal with the different data sources or maybe data object, right? So these are some like from, where, select. Okay, so by the naming convention you would be guessing like this is something relevant to data. Of course, when we are going to use with link query, this is again so here you can see like this is of type again contextual. Okay, but it I have categorized into query, because this join let in on group into order by, these are the part of your database operation. And when we will be discussing again link, there would be a different video tutorial session. So using this keyword, simply we can filter the data and even do much more things on this. Okay, and as it deals with the database query, so it I have categorized those preserved keywords for query, but again it's based on the condition, it turns into keyword. So that's why it is called contextual as well, this one, right? Next is type keyword. No need to discuss much, because our upcoming video session would be maybe immediate or next to that is data types in C#. So we are having lot of data types, as we every language has like bool, character, string, decimal, double, u, int, long int, short int, all these things, right? So please visit to my blog like scam.edu.blogspot.com for all the relevant or tutorial I am going to, or I will have uploaded already. And this is the below URL for the particular what you call the particular text version of this video tutorial. So keep watching, and do subscribe to my channel using the bell icon or the subscribe button just the below of this video tutorial or on your YouTube channel. Okay, so thank you viewers, thanks for watching this video.